I was personally involved in one of these security assurances in the context of the six-party talks, where we were negotiating a document in which we sought language saying that the North would give up all of their nuclear weapons and existing nuclear programs. And in exchange for that, the North Koreans wanted language with regard to a security assurance. Naturally, our instinct was to go back to see what had been said before by US presidents and offer that language. And the North Koreans, with the Chinese behind them, said, no, we don't want that language. We'll come back to you with language. Right? So they came back to us with language, and the language was, the United States will not attack North Korea with nuclear or the United States affirms that it has no nuclear weapons on the Korean Peninsula and that it will not attack North Korea with nuclear or conventional weapons. We looked at the statement and we said, are you serious? You want us to get this approved? And they said, yes. The Chinese who, the Chinese chair the six-party talks, so they hold the pen. They gave us a statement. They said, see if you can get this approved. And we said, okay, we'll try, and went back to the embassy, cabled it back, gave all the reasons why, and went to bed. And I thought we were done, really. I thought we were going to be coming back the next day because I didn't think we could get this language approved. The next morning, we come back in, and they tell us this language is approved. So we said, really? All right, so we went to the Dalyutai State Guest House where we do these negotiations. Went to the drafting room where the Chinese and the other delegations were waiting for us. We walked into the room and we said, so this language has been approved, let's get going. And the Chinese stopped and they said, really? And the South Koreans and the Japanese, who are our allies, kind of stood there and they were like, really? Right? Because that's, that's not what they like to hear. And the North Koreans stood there and they were like, really? At which point, the Russian delegation said, we'd like a recess. And the Chinese head of delegation said, recess? We haven't even started the morning session. Why do you want a recess? And so it was very unclear why they wanted a recess. But they insisted on a recess, and the Chinese, being the hosts that they were, said, of course, you can have a recess. So before we even got into the room to start the negotiation, we all stepped back out. Everybody got coffee. The Russians then took the North Koreans into a side room. So 20 minutes go by. We're waiting. They come out. And the North Koreans head straight back into the main negotiating room. And the Russians say, okay, we're ready, let's go back in. And we kind of look at them like, you're not going to tell us why you wanted a recess? I mean, is there something we should know? And they said, oh yes. So we told the North Koreans that we thought you, the United States, were serious this time. And we said, well, thank you. We think we're serious too. That's why we're at these negotiations. And they said, no. We told them that this language that you approved is basically the equivalent of a negative security assurance. Right? And we told them that we think that this is quite important because we, the Soviet Union, throughout the Cold War, tried to get a negative security assurance from the United States, and you would never give it to us. Right? So we think that this is quite important, and we told the North Koreans that. And so we thought, well, thank you. That's very kind of you. That's very helpful. Well, of course, it ended up not being very helpful because that language today sits in, you can look it up, it sits in the joint statement, the 2005 joint statement. Very important statement, very important clause. And essentially the North Koreans just, they had wanted this statement for years. And then once they got it, they put it in their pocket and they moved on to the next thing that they wanted. But in the end, it's not a security assurance that they want. What they want is they want a regime assurance. Right? That's what they want. They want an assurance that if they go into a process of economic reform, which will inevitably put pressure on a closed dictatorship like this, they want some sort of assurance from the outside world that their regime will be kept intact, that the Kim family will be kept intact. Right? Now, of course, that is not something that the United States can do. Right? It may be something that China is willing to do, but it's not something that the United States can do.